Welcome to our presentation today on Basic International School, Nanjing. We're excited to share some insights about this particular school and some of what we have to offer. Today, we will be covering aspects of the school. Again, Basic International School, Nanjing. We'll touch on the network that we do have, Basic International and Bilingual Schools. We'll talk about some things that are important to know about working with BASIS as well, including benefits, visa requirements, and then at the end, we will have a Q&A session. So as you have any questions that do come up along through the presentation, please feel free to submit your questions in the menu at the bottom. There's a Q&A link. You can submit those questions and we'll answer those questions toward the end of the presentation here today. But for today, presenting, my name is Tim Smith, and I'm Vice President of Global Talent for BASIS International Schools. I'm joined today by Dan Hovland, who's the head of school at BASIS International School, Nanjing, along with Tony Cagle, who is an international recruiter that specifically works with our school in Nanjing as well. So in presenting this school, our school in Nanjing, one of the newer schools to join our network here, but Dan is the head of school. So Dan, welcome. Really appreciate you joining us today and sharing some great insights about your school in Nanjing and about the city and other things. So welcome, and we'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Tim. I'm really happy to be here and share a little bit about our school and what makes it a great place to both be a student as well as a teacher. So I'm glad to start. So the world of Nanjing, as it were, I'll go to the next slide if it's okay. The world of Nanjing, as it were, has a number of facets that I want to touch on today, and we'll talk a little bit about the focus and vision and the priorities we have. I want to talk a little bit about the school and our students and our faculty, and then also give people a perspective on what it's like to live in Nanjing and to be part of our organization. As a background to me, this is my 32nd year in education, and that seems like a long time when I say it out loud. It's my 18th year overseas in international education, and it's my 3rd year at BASIS International Schools. I'm very happy to be in the positions I'm in here. Prior to this, I was working in the bilingual schools in Shenzhen, as well as through the Chief Executive Head of Schools office, doing more overarching roles for the whole organization. The things you see on the screen are really kind of the things that guide me and who I am. I do think that we always need to be learning, whether we're students or teachers. As educators, we see ourselves as the guides and the champions to the learning that happens here. And in order to be heroes of their own learning, our students really need us to support them from that perspective. And ultimately, the world is made up of moments, whether we're students or teachers or anybody else. And the more we do to make those moments meaningful, the more meaning we put into the lives of the students that we're growing and our staff. Beyond that, I see myself as someone who is working really hard to make sure that we lead our school through a shared leadership model. There's a very clear organizational structure that we work through so that people have an opportunity to be part of the decision-making that goes on. BASIS has a very clear structure to what learning looks like in regard to our curriculum, but in regard to shaping the culture of the school and being part of what instructional practice looks like and professional development looks like, our staff need to be part of the things that we do and share in that decision-making. The last thing I'll talk about in regard to me is that everything that we do at BASIS needs to be purposeful and intentional. And from that perspective, I see myself as working to be a clear communicator, but also working to make sure that people share in the vision that we have. So people, when they join our school, really need to be clear on what we are at BASIS and how that aligns with their vision for education. It's a great place to work and grow, and we're looking for people that align with that vision to share in that work. So BASIS International School in Nanjing is a 3-year-old going on 4-year-old school. We service students from 3 years old all the way through 12th grade. We happen to have our first graduating class this year. 7 wonderful students will be going off into the world after their BASIS education, and we're really excited about the opportunities that are ahead for them. We do have a boarding program, and while a little bit small right now, we have 45 students. That is continuing to grow, and that is a big part of what we push in regard to the opportunities for our students to have an additional component to their educational experience. It's a 5-day boarding program, so students are not here in the weekends. They are typically local students that come from as far as 2 hours away, and so the transportation makes it easier for them to be here and on a daily basis during the school week. But that's another way that we really work to create a piece of well-being for students and shape out their experience in education at Basis. You see a lot of people on the screen that demonstrate what we really think Basis learning looks like. Number one, the people in the middle are our staff, and they are together and collectively work to meet the needs of all our students. And the students, as you see in these pictures, are really engaged and make meaning of their work, and they're proud of the work that they do. And so as you see the remaining pictures that I've included on these slides, I want you to look for what that engagement and what that learning looks like as the students are and the staff are engaged in the learning that they do. This is Basis International School Nanjing from a bird's eye view. This is the majority of the campus. Right below where this picture is taken is our field house with a soccer pitch and 3 basketball courts and a number of other pieces, tennis courts and things like that that round out our facilities. But we have 11 buildings on campus, and those buildings have been very carefully structured to meet the needs of our students and our learners. They are exceptionally well outfitted with resources, and they really make learning meaningful for the kids. What I like about our campus is that we are in a residential area that is very close to the downtown by 20 minutes, and yet we are in a neighborhood community that truly feels like you have stepped into probably that small town feel of a lot of the places that we grew up, or that I grew up as a child in the States. Neighborhood parks nearby and all kinds of things going on. And at the same time, we have everything we need right on our campus. These are a few sites from the campus as well. At the core of our school, right at the center, are our core values that you see posted in the upper left-hand corner. And they are there for everyone to see, because we are purposefully and intentionally trying to make sure that we model those and strive for those every day that we're here as learners and teachers. Again, great facilities and great opportunities for our students and our staff. These are a few of the indoor spaces. We have a 3-lane swimming pool, 25 meters, that services for both after-school activities as well as PE activities right now. We do have a swim team. It's a little bit smaller, and that'll be something we grow over time, but it is definitely a great facility. We have a 150-seat theater that has exceptional technology that goes along with that. Our library is well stocked with great books for our students, and we continue to grow that each year. And you see one of our classrooms for early childhood on the left-hand side, which is personalized even to the ceilings, with having trees on the ceiling, which is kind of a fun little affect. As an organization, I think it's important for people to know what we stand for. And Basis obviously is a organization that really strives to provide success and excellence in all that we do. And beyond that, for Basis Nanjing, these are the priorities that we've set this year. We continue to seek academic excellence, and we worked very hard for that. Teacher excellence is a part of that. And so professional development and opportunities to grow and collaborate are part of the work that we do. We've identified that the community is a big aspect of why people should be at Basis Nanjing, whether you are a student or a teacher. And so, as you see, we do things that are purposeful and intentional about how we create our community here. And lastly, the majority of our students are English language learners. And while they are very successful academically, we know that to be very successful in our school and beyond, they need to have full command of their English language skills. And so that is a major focal point to the work that we do in our priorities this year. And here's our work. It's student focused. Again, academic excellence. We work to make sure that students are engaged by providing meaningful activities. We want to make sure that in addition to excellence and success, that we are looking for growth. We have exceptional students here, and they are all individuals in their own right. And we need to look at their individual needs as well as looking for that academic excellence piece. And so that's a piece of the way we look at our data, as well as a way that we talk about the way we are teaching in order to focus on those two aspects of success and growth. The well-being and the belonging, those are a part of the culture that needs to be in any school, and we work really hard and we strive to make sure that this is a place that students feel that they belong and that they are growing in their own interpersonal skills, as well as their affective pieces about how they feel about being part of our community. Again, these are our students, and I really want to showcase the engagement that we see of our students and how learning looks for them. There's a lot of hands-on experiences. Obviously, there are other lecture-based experiences that need to happen in some context, but ultimately learning looks different in many different aspects for every subject. And so the engagement is a part of what we do. The success and the growth are a part of their engagement and their academic potential. I threw this in because there's a lot of different ways that we look at ourselves as learners, and the academic piece and the scientific piece in the upper left-hand corner is complemented for many of our students by being musical and seeking other things out in other aspects. The bottom right-hand corner is students preparing for model United Nations. And in the middle, that is part of our early childhood fashion show that happened this year, which was a recycled and reused fashion show for our early childhood. So everything that they came to for the fashion show was based on things that they took from recycling and reusing at home. This happened to be one of the basis bags that students brought their uniforms home with, and it turned into a very wonderful fashion statement for basis. Performance is a part of what we do, whether it's on the field or on the stage. There's a lot of opportunities for our students to excel and grow beyond just the textbooks or just beyond the curriculum that's in place. And so our students are performers, and they see themselves as successful individuals as a result of how they are seeking to grow themselves, as well as the success they experience in those venues. And that's Basis International School from a student perspective. From a staff perspective, next please, we are a phenomenal staff right now. We're really excited about the growth that we've had this last year in regard to our staff that have joined us. We are very student focused, and that means that we have a commitment to both of our students, and we have a commitment to our staff. In order for them to be committed to students, we have to be committed to them. And so professional development is an aspect of that, as well as making sure that the teacher well-being and the opportunities to be successful in our community are both professional and personal. The expertise that we have here is really exceptional, and there's many people with their doctorate degrees, multiple master's degrees, or specializations in areas that really help us provide an exceptional experience for students. All of our staff, when they come here, really need to see themselves as sharing the vision that we have for both Basis Global's insights on what it means to be a teacher and educator and a learner, as well as what it means to provide that basis classroom experience and have it be meaningful beyond just the academics. We are dedicated. There's a collaborative spirit that comes through that. And if you're seeking that type of community, this is a great place for you. One of the things that I really want to showcase in our work is the way that we are working together. These are pictures that have all been taken this fall from the work that we do together. And that collaborative spirit that I talked about in the previous slide truly does exist here. We have regular meetings that happen on a weekly basis. There are team meetings that happen. There are impromptu meetings that happen as a result of the support that each other provides each other. But ultimately, coming to Basis, especially Basis Nanjing, means that you are looking to be a collaborator in the work that you do, and that you have something to give beyond your classroom. And this exemplifies some of those pieces. Again, those are the real conversations that happen as a result of the work that we're doing to meet the needs of our students. This happens to be our recruiting class of 2022, and we have a couple of people that we're still rounding that out based on access to China, and that is improving. But this is the group that joined us, that added value to what already existed as a great school. And I just wanted people to see what it looked like for the people that joined our staff. And there in that group, there's someone I think that identifies with everybody that might be watching this video, and that's a exceptional piece for me to be able to share that we truly have a great place for everyone, and we're looking for great educators to round that out. And that is our staff as a whole in front of our school, making sure that we have a program that is exceptional, that we make sure that things are meaningful for our students and memorable, and quite honestly, they have to be those three things for us as staff as well. So thanks for giving me a little bit of an opportunity to share a little bit about our school and what that looks like. I do want to talk a little bit about what it looks like to live in Nanjing. there are a lot of different cities in China that provide many different opportunities, and I've lived in a few. And quite honestly, I am extremely excited to share things about Nanjing, because although it's not the biggest city in China, there are still many things that happen that are available for both modern and metropolitan experiences like you see here. There are many things that relate back to Western culture too that you can seek out. They may take a little bit of seeking, but they exist, and our staff do really well at finding those things. Next, please. You have the cityscape and the nightlife that exists like that, which is a great place as well. There's so many wonderful things to do, and it's such a safe city and a safe place to be that really is nice for our staff to be able to utilize and explore. This happens to be an area down by the Confucius Temple in Laomendong, and you'll see things on the street like you see in the middle, or you see the bookstores on the left and the right, which are beautiful and they're wonderful and welcoming and really great sites for people to explore and see. There are all kinds of museums and historical features to Nanjing that are wonderful to explore, and things like the boat cruises down the river and all other things that you see here are really fun to explore, and they're within 30 minutes of the school and really provide a great opportunity for our staff when they have that downtime. Very easy to access, very welcoming, and is a really big part of the kind of, I think, the draw to Nanjing is knowing that there's that, as well as a very calm lifestyle available as well. The transportation that we have in Nanjing is another thing to consider. It's everything that we have in Nanjing is very modern. The airport is newer. The train station is very new and is connected to so many different places. You can get to almost anywhere from Nanjing in a very short amount of time and very comfortably, and it's easy to access. And so showing you what the train station looked like right here is a great opportunity for me to just share how modern things are and how easily accessible they are. The last thing I was going to share with you is all of the things that I shared about the nightlife and the aspects of the museums and culture and all those other things are wonderful. And yet our school is only about 30 minutes from there. And instead of those things being nearby us, we have a very, very eco-friendly and green-oriented community that we live in and that our school is based in. And so the sites you see in the upper left-hand corner are from a view of one of the local rooftop restaurants overlooking the city that's part of where Basis is located. The lower right-hand corner is the wonderful park that's only 2 blocks from our school. You see our own school on the upper right-hand side. And then on the left-hand side is some of the shopping and street culture that exists within just a few blocks of our school as well. So there's wonderful opportunities for a very easy, quiet life in Nanjing, while at the same time being able to access so much within just a short ride. This is the last thing, which is 10 minutes from school. You will find yourself in many different natural park areas. There's the Purple Mountain that has all kinds of parks and temples and things inside that for hiking and quite honestly, just enjoying things. There's the Garden Expo Park, which is a sporting area as well as hotels and has wonderful hiking as well. Just so many green opportunities that are complemented by the other opportunities I shared before. So Nanjing really does have so much to offer so many people, and we're excited about what that means for our staff as well as the students that live here. And that would be all that I have to share today in regard to Nanjing. We really are excited about what this school means for the teachers that come here, and we really work hard to make sure that we identify exceptional staff that are going to provide a meaningful experience for our students, and in return, they have an exceptional experience that truly resonates with what it means to be an international educator. So thanks for the opportunity to share, and if you have questions later, I'd love to answer them.
Well, Dan, thanks for sharing so much about your school, about Nanjing. A couple of things I just really love about Nanjing is, Nanjing is kind of the historical center of education in China. And so to be a part of that environment is really remarkable, especially, where the school is located is in the university district. So you have universities right around there. It's really kind of like, the education hub of the education center of China. And so it's really kind of a unique opportunity there. One of the things I've also really loved about your campus is there's actually a very strong sense of community and the purpose, and the people work so well together. You've had so many very impressive teachers that have joined. I think you touched on that a little bit, but just the way that everybody works together to really kind of drive both the experience for the students as well as almost, pushing one another to continue to always, do better themselves. It's something that I've always been impressed about the school there in campus, the school and campus there in Nanjing. So great people that you do have.
Yeah, I would agree. Those are two really good points. Basis Nanjing is in the center of the educational hub of China. It is known for education, and quite honestly, we compete with many great schools in the area for great students because it is so well known for education, and they are so committed to learning here. So it makes for great students that come to our school. The staff, you're right, they are exceptional people, and they truly come here because they want to make a difference for our kids. For me, the true indicator of our success is what students look like when they're talking with their teachers, and when they're engaged and happy to be there and they seek them out. Those are the indicators that we're making a difference and in the right ways. And so I would agree with you completely. We have great teachers here, and we will be complementing them hopefully with another great cadre of teachers coming in this year as well.
Great. Look, the school continues to grow. It's always great to have new thoughts, new ideas, and new people joining. One of the other things I very particularly loved about your school, the campus, is the early childhood rooms. So something that is so unique about the rooms, and I don't know if people saw in the picture, you have aspects of the city incorporated into the room. There's tree-lined streets throughout Nanjing, so you kind of have trees coming up and then over in the classrooms, and then the walled city. You kind of have aspects of the wall in some of the rooms as well. So the way that the school incorporates Nanjing as a whole into particularly the early childhood classrooms is something that's very fun and very unique. So not only well apportioned, but and well resourced, but the culture of the local community is well embedded within those classrooms. So
completely agree. Those early childhood classrooms do have personalities all their own, and I've never seen anything like it. And it's really exciting to have our kids be able to utilize that.
Yeah, really, really great. Well, thanks for sharing so many great insights.
Pleasure.
I'll share some additional details about our group, our network as a whole. So Teaching with Basic International and Bilingual Schools. We are a network. It's the Basis Curriculum Schools Network, which consists of schools, independent schools in the United States, and the Basic International and Bilingual schools throughout Asia. 10 international schools, 6 main campuses within the United States. The mission that we do have as Basis and the Basis International Schools is to provide our students with a transformative early childhood and K-12 education with the Basis curriculum, and through exceptional teaching and faculty mentoring. We're looking to produce graduates who have the broad intellectual and international perspectives, critical thinking capabilities, and creative problem-solving skills to be future leaders in their world. And the thing that is a lot of people have commented on is that it's not just something focused on some type of outcomes for the students, but we actually incorporate faculty mentoring into our mission statement. And something that's really important to us to really develop our people. And when people come and join Basis, we really want you to be an even better educator when you move on to any next step in your career as a result of having been with us and developed and learned through your experience with Basis. You will be a better educator as a result. In terms of the Basis curriculum, it is an accelerated curriculum. So we do look to educate students at the highest international levels. And in those earlier grades in primary, we look to really establish that love and respect of learning. In the middle school grades, we look to enhance the academic mindset, building the critical thinking skills, questioning, building some of the research approaches, and then furthering that in the high school grades, where we're really fostering college readiness. Our students are taking college or university level courses through the high school coursework. We do incorporate AP courses into the curriculum there. We also go beyond AP, similar to what you may see in the British A-levels, to where people are really going deep within subjects. And that's what we want to do, is help them understand how to pursue their interests to a deep level as they further their educational career pursuits further in their life. In terms of results, the results have been really quite strong. 96% of our graduates across the network have been accepted into top 50 universities. 77% have been accepted into top 30 programs, including such schools as Boston University, Carnegie Mellon, Columbia, Cornell, Duke, the Imperial College of London, MIT, Princeton, Rice, Stanford, UCLA, University of Chicago, Oxford, University of Toronto, and one of the top arts and design schools, Rhode Island School of Design. One thing that's also very specifically unique about the BASIS International School is we have a partnership with UC Berkeley, which is one of the top universities in the world, frequently ranked as the top public university in the world. We've established a partnership where individuals within our group are able to actually teach, and the students are able to take Berkeley credited courses within our high schools. These programs are rolled out through 4 of our campuses currently, and will continue to be rolled out to all of the campuses as we continue to grow and establish the programs further. But it's something that's extremely unique, both in terms of opportunities for the teachers working with us to teach Berkeley programs, to collaborate with Berkeley instructors and professors, and to teach and support those programs at a very high level of learning for our students. With that, I will have Tony will join us and speak to a little bit more of some of the details of what it's like to teach and be a part of our organization. So, Tony, we'll turn it to you.
Thank you so much, Tim. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. I'm really excited to share with you a little bit more about BASIS, what we look for. Some of the things will be kind of a refresher on the amazing things that Dan spoke of, but we want to bring them up again because we see that it is really so important. So why teach at BASIS International Schools? So one of the biggest things is that collaborative learning environment that Dan spoke about. When you bring so many people together who are passionate about education, passionate about what they do, it's hard for them not to come together and really just want to create something special. So you will see across our campuses, our teachers are doing that. They're coming together, making these great items for students to do, and really going back to the part where Dan spoke about that meaningful learning for students. So really tying that learning together across all subject levels. We also have a great academic culture. So we set very high expectations for our students and teachers alike. We have a very prestigious network. One of the things I love about our schools is many times if you talk to people who are in China, they are very aware of BASIS and they've heard great things. Many of our teachers that do go on to leave BASIS often have very high regards for us. And you hear that when you're talking to other teachers in China. And of course, one of the most amazing things about being a teacher with us is the BASIS students. They are so excited to be there, excited to learn. Part of the BASIS process is really instilling that excitement in education and getting students excited to come to school. So that definitely stands out at any of our schools, particularly in Nanjing, though. Perfect. So some other things to note about China. It's really great, convenient, modern living. There is a lot of easy ways to get around transportation. In particular in China, it's really easy to get access to things. If you want to order something, you can have it delivered right to your door. Education is highly valued in China. So going in as a teacher, you will see you're almost put up on a pedestal. It's really amazing to see how highly sought after and how highly recognized our teachers are. I think it's something that's well deserved. Teachers do work really hard, so it's nice to see that respect brought from parents and families and students alike. It's also exciting to experience a new culture. So if you have a little bit of adventure in you, it's a great way to go and experience something new and to do some exploration. China also offers a good low cost of living. So it's a great way to save some money as you are, coming abroad and, maybe wanting to think of some different ways to save some money. So it's a great aspect for that as well. Perfect. Now we're going to go into the expat package in China and what to expect from that. Well, one of the things that you'll get if you are hired on with Basis is airfare. So we will pay for your flights coming into China as well as leaving China at the end of your contract. There is also an annual return home allowance. So we'll give you some money each year so that you can travel home. Some people like to use that to travel around as well, which you can do. It just is taxed if you decide you want to do that. We also have a great visa team at every single school that's going to really hold your hand and walk you through the process. We provide housing for all of our teachers. It is furnished housing, and it's usually on or near campus. We really do recommend that you stay in our housing at least that first year, just so that you can get familiar with our surroundings. Also, you'll be surrounded by other Basis teachers, which is wonderful. But in the event that you are already in China or familiar with China, or when you get here, you find a neighborhood that you really like, you can get a stipend and put that towards housing of your choice as well. So you're certainly not locked into any particular housing that we provide. We do provide healthcare for all of our teachers as well as dependents. So you can bring a spouse and up to 2 children with you, and they will be covered under your global healthcare coverage. And basically that will cover you for the VIP clinics and luxury hospitals in China, as well as traveling around. And since you have those 2 children, if you are bringing them with you, you can enroll them to Basis for free. We will talk about that a little bit further later, but just to be aware that Basis curriculum is quite rigorous. So it is something you're going to want to consider as going forward, thinking about it and making sure that it's a good fit for you and your child. We also provide meals on school days, typically breakfast and lunch. And I hear that the meals at Basis are actually nothing short of spectacular. So I don't think you'll be let down there. As far as retirement goes, we give you a 10% bonus at the end of each school year. And that is so you can put towards retirement of your choice. So we know everybody's coming in from different parts of the world with different retirement plans. So this really allows you to take that money and put it in an area that's going to best suit your needs. There's also a completion bonus and opportunities for additional bonuses throughout the year. So what does it take to become a teacher with Basis? The biggest thing that we look for is that passion for teaching. And are you excited about what you teach and teaching it every day? So one of the things that we can determine that passion is, are you a master in that teaching area? Do you have a degree in your teaching subject? So typically we look for math teachers with math degrees, physics teacher with physics degrees, somebody who's really passionate about it and went and got a degree in that field. In addition, we do require that you have 2 years of full-time teaching experience, and that's so that we can get you the Z visa that we need for you to be able to teach in China. Again, there's that collaboration piece. So we look for teachers who are excited to collaborate and work with their peers. That is an important part of Basis, as Dan had mentioned earlier, and really creating a great environment for teachers and students alike. We do have those high academic standards to adhere to. And, teachers all over the world, we understand, work very hard. It's no different at Basis. Our teachers here are extremely hard workers. And just somebody who's excited to engage and work with young students and young minds. There are some visa restrictions depending on which province you may be coming into. Every province is a little different, but we, as a recruiting team, are happy to discuss anything with you when we chat, in case there are any restrictions or anything that we should be aware of when we're looking at schools. Perfect. So working for Basis International Schools, a couple of things that are really important to know. The first is the majority of our students are Chinese nationals. So they live near or around the school. So with that being said, most of them are learning English as a second language. So there are a few things to note and be aware of, particularly if you've worked with English language learners before. As you go in and are working with students, it's really important to make sure that you are speaking and presenting material in a way that's going to be accessible to them, knowing that maybe English isn't their first language, and also working really hard to get them to those high levels in those content areas, even though, they do have some extra barriers that you'll be working with. With any school, you have to be flexible as a teacher. With BASIS, it's no different. We are a growing network. And with that, we are looking for teachers who are really flexible to grow with us. And going back to that piece about bringing your students with you. So if you have children with you, again, you can bring them and enroll them in BASIS, up to 2 children. But our curriculum is quite rigorous. For example, in 6th grade, you will see our students are taking pre-algebra, they're taking chemistry, biology, physics. So it's quite rigorous, and it continues to get more rigorous as the years advance. So it is really important that you are sure that your child is ready for that rigor and ready to step into that, because we want every student coming through our doors to really be set up for success from the beginning. The great thing about BASIS is we are growing, and so there's lots of future growth coming our way. We tend to open about 1 to 3 new schools each year in China, so there's going to be lots of opportunities going forward as well. Some places to look out for are Beijing, Shanghai, and another school in Guangzhou that's going to be our bilingual school. Perfect. And if you are interested in learning more, here are some websites. We have a really great blog as well. I highly recommend you check it out. You will see just recently we put out a letter from Dan about Nanjing. You can read all about it. You can also go in and there's some great search functions. So if you want to search Nanjing, you can find out all the different blog posts that have come out over the years, really focusing in on what's going on, teachers' experience, students' experience. So it really is a great opportunity for you to learn more.
Well, thank you, Tony. Appreciate you sharing those great insights on some key things about teaching with BASIS. So we've reached the point where we do have, we'll be answering some questions that have come up through the presentation. Tony, do you want to go through some of the questions that have come up?
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Tim. Our first question is, how do students and teachers in BASIS Nanjing learn and collaborate with other BASIS schools in the network?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it does happen on a regular basis. There's a couple of ways that happens. In the fall, when we start school, there are summer institutes for all of our new staff, and those things happen on campus, but they also happen collaboratively with the other campuses, oftentimes in person, but most recently they've been virtual. And those opportunities are allowing people to meet with our curriculum advisors and the different leaders, teacher leaders that help guide them on the practices for their classes and their courses. So that's one professional development opportunity that's provided there. Throughout the year, we have different committees that are part of the network. And so we have for example, the primary humanities has a set of chairs, and they meet regularly in order to provide guidance and direction for the whole network in regard to what's going on in their schools and how they make some decisions together. And that is one way that we do those things. Also, there's one Thursday a month where professional practices are part of what we do from a network level. And so those professional development experiences across the network happen on those Thursdays on a regular basis. So those are a couple of ways that happens.
So Dan, quick question. You spoke to some of the ways that the teachers collaborate across the network. How about students? What kind of interaction do students have?
Yeah, that's growing, to be honest with you. Model United Nations is one of those ways that we're seeking to do more this year. Last year, we had our first opportunities with speech and debate. And so we had speech and debate tournaments that our students went out to that they competed in regionally, but also based on the BASIS schools. And so that's happening more and more. This year, there's a drama experience between Hangzhou and Nanjing that's just coming up. And that's scheduled for later in the year. So there's a lot of opportunities for our students to do those things. I think the challenges are how to fit them into their busy schedule, to be honest with you. So the other thing is there's a BASIS China Athletics League, and that is doing the same things of bringing our students together in the spirit of sport and competition, but also good sportsmanship and getting to know each other as a BASIS community.
That's great.
I'll add one last thing is I said I was in another role prior to this, and that was the Chief Instructional Officer for the chief executive head of schools office. Those roles, of which there's between 3 and 5 each year, those roles are people that go out into all of our schools and they provide guidance and support across the network. And so one way we do professional development is by those people working with the different people in the schools and providing some of that guidance and support across the network.
That's great.
Perfect. Next question. So about what portion of the staff would you say are expat teachers compared to your local staff?
So we have, I think it's about a 60-40 split from our professional expat staff and our professional local staff. That 60-40 split is you have to take into consideration, though, that a majority of those people that are in the local staff, the local Chinese staff, are teaching the Chinese coursework. And so the other Chinese staff that are hired locally, the other majority are the learning enhancement teachers, and they are the teachers that work alongside and co-teach with the expat teachers in the primary classrooms. And so we have some great models in place, but the majority of our instruction comes from either the expat teachers or from the co-teaching model with the local and the expat teacher together.
Next question. What kinds of PD can teachers expect with a basis school?
Yeah, so I mentioned a few of those things at the beginning of the year, opportunities on our Thursdays. I noted for the group earlier that we have some priorities in our work this year, and those Thursdays that remain are the Thursdays that we use to focus on those aspects of where we need to learn and grow as a school. Beyond that, we support teachers in a number of different ways, both for their informal professional development of things they do with each other, as well as there are funds available in the second and third year of people's contracts for them to start accessing funds in order to do additional professional development and be supported in that. We have teachers that are going on for additional credentials and licensures right now. And in fact, we have a physics teacher with his PhD who is working on additional accreditation, and our vice head of school is in a mentor model program with him. So in addition to providing funding, he's providing some additional support from that aspect as well.
That sounds like some great opportunities for the teachers there.
Yeah.
What about a typical workload for a teacher?
So a typical teacher in the primary school will teach probably 4 to 5 periods a day and has 2 prep periods a day. The typical high school teacher will have a similar structure with 4 to 5 periods a day with then additional hours for student hours during the week for them to meet with students and provide additional support. Beyond that, they have different duties in regard to supervision and opportunities for supporting the school in that supervisory mode. I would say it's a reasonable schedule. I don't want to say comfortable, but I think it's a reasonable schedule that allows for people to really dig down and prepare well for their students, and at the same time, make sure that we utilize them to the best of their abilities.
Excellent. And last question. Can you talk a little bit about the pre-admission evaluations that are given to students in order to get into the basis schools?
Yeah, so we on Saturday, in fact, are having an open day, and that open day allows for families to come and visit our school and learn about us so they can decide whether this is something they want to pursue. If they do like what they see and they think that this is the right fit for their child, there are different admissions assessments that go on then following that. And so students and their parents come in for a set of interviews and assessments that take place over sometimes 2 weekends. Parents are interviewed in regard to whether this is a fit for them as parents, and students are interviewed for their language acquisition and their English proficiency, as well as for their academic proficiency and readiness for our curriculum. We know that the learning that goes on here is accelerated, and as a result, we want to make sure that the students, when they come here, are ready to be successful, because if they're going to join us, we want them to be with us a long time. One of the things that I didn't talk about earlier, but we do, I said this is an accelerated place, and kids are really bright when they come here and they do a lot of great things academically. And yet I don't want people to think that they're just like student machines that are just studying. And they are really exceptional individuals, and they really have a lot of things to add in and out of the classroom. You saw a lot of the things that I shared that they explored in regard to theater and music and all those other things. We talked about speech and debate. And even beyond that, our kids are doing exceptional things. We had kids this summer who were part of equestrian and sailing competitions that did extremely well nationally. We had a student in 9th grade this year come to me just a few weeks ago and say, I've been volunteering in the library and I think reading's really important. So I've designed a website that will help students search for the right books that are in our library. And after looking through it, I am dumbfounded as to the amount of time and the insight that it took a 9th grader to create things like that. So those are just examples of some of the really unique things that I think round out who our kids are beyond just the academics that we often think of.
And maybe add to that, from a student life perspective, again, you do have a, partial boarding program for some students. You have a house program as well. So there's a lot of, social aspects that the students participate in as well. Anything you can kind of share about some of those components?
Yeah, the boarding system is more than just have dinner and study and go to bed. That obviously is a component of that, and there are support mechanisms to make sure the kids are supported in their academics that they might otherwise have outside of school. But beyond that, there are a lot of opportunities for kids to utilize the facilities and socialize. They just had a boarding experience on campus 2 weeks ago where they were having their regular barbecue and getting together to do social things and games as well. And so there is that sense of community that we have to build into a boarding program, because as I said earlier, we have to make meaning for the students, that it has to be more than just the place they come to study and learn. It has to be the place where they grow. And so that looks different for every child and every age group. And we really work hard from a boarding perspective to do that. Our house system is the way that we kind of separate and have some small informal competitions and opportunities for growing. But even more than that, that's the way for us to kind of segment some of our school culture in order to smaller groups, in order to have the conversations and opportunities to connect even across the different grade levels.
That's great. Well, very good. Well, I think that closes all the questions. Is that right, Tony? Any other questions remaining?
Those are all the questions. Thank you so much, Dan.
My pleasure.
Well, Dan, yeah, again, thanks for joining us and sharing a lot of the insights about your school. Really excited about the growth that you've had and coming up on your first graduating class. So lots of great things happening in Nanjing. So for those of you that are interested in opportunities and careers with our school in Nanjing, again, you can go to our career site, or you can email us at careers@basisinternationalschools.com, or go to our career site at jobs.basisinternationalschools.com, and certainly feel free to follow us across our social channels as well. A lot of great insights about the experiences that our teachers have that we share on our blog, that we share across our social channels like Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Our YouTube channel has some great things as well. So feel free to learn a little bit more about Basis International Schools, and we look forward to having you consider us as a great career opportunity. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Tony.